Hello, 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 and welcome to the Cup Ringside, part of the Cup Network, where we give you the best seat in the house when it comes to WWE wrestling and wrestling in general now. So we are here and welcome. We appreciate you joining us. I am Lana, your resident evil diva, and I'm here to give the tea, spill the tea, and drink the tea because you know I love me some tea. Purr. And if you have some tea, you know what to do. Hit me up. I am not drink. Oh, I mean, I'm drinking some Sprite from Arby's because that's where I went to have dinner.
Work.
So there's that. It's almost empty, but whatever. But I would be drinking it out of one thing I always keep close to my heart, never far from my life, is my cup mug. Peer, peer,
Cup
peer,
mug.
peer.
Cup
Peer,
mug.
peer.
Cup mug. Cup mug. Cup mug.
Thank you, cup mug. Thank you, cup mug. Yeah,
We love thank you, cup
period.
mug.
We love Thank You Cup Mug here. But get your cup mug or any of our cup merch at lonagcreations.etsy.com. That link will be in the description below. And yeah, we do ship domestically here in the United States, Canada, and Mexico, and we do ship internationally. So there are no excuses. Get your cup merch.
That part.
Period.
And hi, everybody. It is I, Brooke, the queen of the cup. And I am so excited to talk about this week in wrestling here on the Weekly Ringside wrap up. Finally nailed it. Third time was the charm. So, I mean, it's been a week in wrestling, hasn't it, Lana? It has been a week that has occurred.
Yeah, a week happened. Wrestling happened.
Kind of a
I'm good.
slow week in terms of like news stories, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
Nothing insane really happened this week. Nobody like announced they were signing anywhere. Nobody like nothing crazy really happened online. Like it was just a week of wrestling, but not to say there was nothing going on. There were some things going on.
And we're going to talk about all of it. So yeah, that's what's going on. But like I said, before we jump into anything and get fully jump in and start on the week, we are part of a network. We have three other channels that you can join. First of all, you need to subscribe to this channel, and then you need to go to our descriptions below. Why is this hair doing the weird thing? Okay, go to our descriptions below, and click our link tree. And you can get all the links to our podcast on all of our channels. All of our links will be in that description below. Click it, subscribe to all of our channels. We would appreciate all of your support. We see y'all watching. The numbers are growing here, and we appreciate y'all who are subscribing to this channel. And we hope to continue to get more people to subscribe to this channel because we want to give you content, and we're doing the best we can. So help us out, and all of our other channels as well. Also, our audio podcast links are in that same description. So click on that if you want to listen to us on the go, and as well as our um, Patreon. If you want to join our Patreon to get early access content from all of the four channels and exclusive content across all four channels. Had a brain fart, couldn't remember what I was about to say, but
It
have it.
happens.
It happens. Exclusive content across all four channels. So join our Patreon, and we appreciate you. So
Yeah, so let's just talk about it. Lots of, like I said, not the busiest week in terms of like major news stories, but there was still some stuff that happened. Uh, First off, Bloodsport happened this weekend, and MVP was there.
hmm
Now he was not the only currently signed WWE talent to be at Bloodsport this weekend. Shayna Baszler was there. Charlie Dempsey from NXT was there, but MVP, a little bit more interesting situation. If you watched last week, you know that we reported that MVP is wrapping up with WWE shortly. Um, but MVP basically said he's not re-signing with WWE. His contract ends very soon, and he's looking for a fight. So, and he says he's not quite ready to retire. So we'll see what comes out of that. How you feel? Because I know you're a Hurt Business fan. I know that for a fact.
I mean, I'm a Bobby Lashley fan. Let's just be honest, but
Hmm.
I do like MVP um, as well. And I mean, if WWE don't want you, somebody else will. And I
Hmm.
feel like we will see him either at AEW or we'll see him going to do more independent scenes or maybe even TNA. Who knows? But
Hmm.
I don't. If he's saying he doesn't feel like he is ready for retirement. I don't think he's gonna do it, and he's gonna go find someplace else to wrestle with
Mhm.
until he can't no more. So
I fully agree with that, honestly. I think MVP is just one of those people that WWE has never really treated him like a huge, huge star outside of when he first came into the
yeah,
company.
hmm,
And like the first time, to be clear,
right,
the first time.
the first
Uh,
time,
yeah, like MVP, insanely talented to me. One of the best talkers. I don't want to say ever, maybe, but like he's in the conversation to me.
I agree.
Um, and like I think he just never really got utilized right, and I'm excited to see what he does now. I thought when he came back and like when he was managing the Hurt Business, that was great,
Hmm.
but he hasn't really been given the opportunity to do anything since then. He's been managing Omos, but again, Omos isn't on TV, so
Right,
really gonna see if MVP leaving WWE is better for him. I mean, it's probably gonna be better. Not something is better than nothing, but
absolutely,
we're gonna
absolutely.
see if he's gonna be able to just go and do, or if maybe it's time for him to wrap it up. But no matter what it is, I'm interested to see what happens because I am also a huge MVP fan.
Hmm.
So um, I'm rooting for you, bud. I'm rooting for you
Absolutely,
big time.
absolutely. I wasn't here on the show last week, and when you all were talking about how all the talent that was let go at one time, I was just like, oof,
Mhm.
oof,
Yeah, I mean,
oof.
we kind of figured Tamina would happen eventually.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if that makes it any better, but like the other two, that one hurt a little bit. I mean, they're technically still with the company as of right now, but if they're
Hmm.
all wrapping up, like especially Bobby, that was the one
That
that's
that
like,
one was very ridiculous. Like, I
hmm
don't understand. Like, I get not knowing what to do with superstars sometimes,
hmm
but I also feel like it's very lazy for them not to even try to figure out where to put them. Like, it's always someplace, somewhere
hmm
that a talent, as much as as big as Bobby Lashley is, I feel like he's still worth something to a
Um,
company.
to me, why don't you just, if you don't want to put Bobby on SmackDown, put him on Raw. Let him do something over there
Right,
because like the whole idea of the brand split, sure, yeah, you could always just like do a trade and like
right,
have Bobby get sent to Raw and in exchange SmackDown gets like I don't know who's somebody that's stale on Raw right now, like Otis and
right.
Tozawa or something like that. Like it doesn't have to be this big complicated thing all the time. I get why they haven't done that, but I wish they did. I wish there was something for Lashley to do. He's great.
I really
Needs a
wish
new
they would have
finisher.
just. I wish they would have let the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley thing actually work and
Mhm,
try to make it work in a way where it could, because I feel like the Almighty Prophets would be a good thing, and they brought in BFAB. I thought that was a good addition. Like, okay, let's
mhm,
bring her in and push her up a little bit, help her get better in the business. Da 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 da. I just was like, they had an opportunity to do something. I just felt like they didn't think it was worth it,
mhm.
and so they let it fall by the wayside.
Yeah, I mean, they literally have barely been on TV since Mania. I'm
Yeah.
not like I wish there was something for them to do. I feel bad, especially considering the team they beat at Mania, the Final
Right.
Testament. They've been all over Raw lately. So like,
Right.
and again, no shade to Carrie and Cross and company. Nothing
I'll shade
to
them.
do with
I don't
y'all.
like them.
Well, I mean, I'm not a huge fan either of like just the gimmick itself. I'm not here for it really.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if you weren't gonna use Bobby and the Profits, why didn't you have the
Them
Final Testament win at
lose.
Mania? Yeah, like
Right.
I just
It's
booking,
so dumb.
booking.
Well, yeah,
Um,
booking. We whatever. Oh,
but regardless, uh, MVP's next chapter. I'm excited to see where this goes. You know what I'm not excited for, Lana?
what are we?
Friday for the next episode of SmackDown.
Oh, jeez.
It's been so
That is
boring.
not a way to do that. That's segue. Oh, that's segue, Brooke. Uh,
I'm just
it's,
SmackDown has
I,
been so boring lately.
I mean, you're not wrong, and that's why I'm like this segue to bring in the such. I wanted to say, like, okay, SmackDown, maybe this was just, the show before the SummerSlam, and Maybe they were just trying to, but it's been like this for a couple of weeks now. It's been like this for a
Mhm.
few weeks now. SmackDown has not been hitting on what it needs to be hitting on. I feel like
Mhm.
WWE is focusing so much more on trying to make the pay-per-views good that they're forgetting about their weekly show programming,
Mhm.
and they're not putting the effort into the weekly programming. Uh, I
Yeah,
mean,
the
yeah.
thing about it for me is that it's just, if this is the show before SummerSlam, last week was the show before SummerSlam, and
Mhm.
like, and so on and so forth. It has just been so hard to watch SmackDown these past few weeks. And
Eh,
normally, I like. Granted, was I on Raw when we were doing the weekly episodic shows?
mhm.
Yes. Do I prefer SmackDown historically? Absolutely.
Mhm.
So it's been weird that Raw's been the watchable one lately.
Yeah,
But
I let's just talk about it.
mhm.
I'll just give
You
you
don't
the
seem happy either.
it wasn't that great. Like watching it, I was just sitting here like, you know how when you watch something and it's just your interest just starts fading away slowly but surely because I'm like, oh, I'm anticipating watching SmackDown, turn on my TV, I'm watching. And then all of a sudden I'm just like, hmm,
Mhm.
where's my
Mhm.
phone? And I pick up my phone and then I'm looking, I'm still watching, but I'm more scrolling through on TikTok now. I'm just like, oh. And then
That's relatable.
after a while, I am more focused on TikTok than I was on Raw, and I miss what
Mhm.
happened. But I watched, and okay, so we had Cody Rhodes make an appearance. He made an appearance. He had his time out there, of course, because Cody's the champ. He's gonna be out there.
Mhm.
Some matches happen. LA Knight, Santos Escobar, Bailey Meechin versus Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax. Those are like, and then they had a tag team gauntlet match. I want to say the tag team gauntlet match was probably the best part of SmackDown was the
Highly
gauntlet match.
agree. Highly
Ev-
agree.
everything else was kind of just like, eh. But LA Knight beats Escobar. No surprise there. Um, uh, Jax and Stratton defeats Meechin and Bailey. Sure. I mean,
Okay. Do you know
I
what my
think
problem is with SmackDown this week?
sure.
I just think this was a perfect example of like what has been going wrong on SmackDown lately.
Mm,
Um, we're focusing so much on some of these feuds that nobody really cares about. I'm not invested in Cody and Solo. I not invested in the new people in the bloodline in general outside of Jacob Fatu. Um,
mhm.
and because of that, seeing them on my programming is just not fun for me. But then on top of that too, it just seems like everybody who's been on TV lately, like on SmackDown, outside of I'll say Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton,
Mhm.
and to what degree DIY. I think they've been pretty good when they've been on TV. Outside of
Mhm.
that, SmackDown has just been super stale. No,
Mhm.
everybody seems kind of directionless outside of the people that are like directly involved in title programs.
Mhm.
And because of that, if we don't think that the title program is going to go anywhere, nobody else is going anywhere either.
Right.
And I think the people that are like benefiting from that, I mean, obviously LA Knight's been benefiting from that because he's fighting Logan Paul and probably winning the US title this weekend.
Mhm.
But imagine a world where he doesn't. I'm terrified. Um,
Mhm.
but I think we are literally teetering on the edge of something that could be special again. We just need to get over the SummerSlam hump, and
Right.
maybe, just maybe, SmackDown will be interesting again with new champions. Because I think we're gonna
Maybe.
have at least two, maybe three new champions on SmackDown. Um, and the
Okay.
maybe three is, I'm still not sure about that women's title. I'm worried. Um,
Mm, yeah. Um, I guess the only other, well, before I get into the gauntlet match, the only other thing that was pretty much interesting or a little bit intriguing is Solo did a promo at the end of SmackDown where he was talking about, well, he pretty much said he was the um he was the head of, he's the head of the table, blah blah blah. He called out Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns.
Hmm.
And so it was like, huh, what does that mean? You calling out Roman? Are we going to see that? I guess they were trying to make us see. Are we going to see Roman at SummerSlam? Is Roman going to come back and screw Solo or what? Like that was somewhat interesting. To see what would happen with that. We did have um what's his man's name? Terrence Crawford.
Hmm.
He came out and he knocked out Austin Theory because apparently he was there last week. It's not apparently. He was there before.
Hmm.
And he handed Cody Rhodes a chair. Yeah, it's I guess we just gotta bring extra people into this mess. I don't really care. Um honestly, I don't
You're
really
right.
care.
You're right for that. You're valid for that.
But
Okay.
yeah.
Let's talk about this gauntlet match because this gauntlet
That's what I
match
was
was
about to get
good.
into. The participants of the gauntlet match. Let me do that first. Was Baron Corbin and Apollo Cruz, Rando, Angel Garza and Barrow
Umberto
Bleh.
Carrillo.
Carrillo. I can say his name. I know who he is. The Street Profits, Pretty Deadly, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, Tamatonga, and Jacob Fatu. Now, I love a good gauntlet match. I'm a fan
Hmm.
of a gauntlet match. I don't mind it. It's just interesting to me. And the bloodline was going to be represented because Solo said so, even though uh uh um had
Tongaloa.
has the eye patch on and he was injured, but it's okay. We
Hmm.
go represent, we go do our thing, and they were in there. Um and they were going to for the number one uh contenders for DIYs championships. It was interesting. Corbin, to say the least. It was interesting to say the
I
least.
just okay. The match itself was
Mhm.
fine. It was really. I
Mhm.
honestly, the match was good. The winners
I mean,
choice, a choice. Let
I
me tell
mean,
you.
we knew this was happening. I knew this was happening because we have to have, like I've been saying this before, and I'm gonna keep saying it until the bloodline has all the gold. Nobody's going to believe in their reign of terror. Nobody's going to believe in the bloodline unless they can show their dominance to be that faction that is going to terrorize and rule the backstage. It has to happen before Roman comes back and takes it all over again. I don't know. I just it
I
had to
haven't
happen.
believed in it yet. I'll say that much. And
I'm
I don't.
yeah.
I don't think a title belt is gonna make me believe in it either. But we'll see. I mean, it's just maybe I'm a pessimist here, and like I just don't like Solo Sikoa, so it is hard for me to be invested in whatever Solo Sikoa is doing. Um, and like on top of that, I think there were so many better options to win this gauntlet
Absolutely.
match.
Of course you
Um,
would because you don't
okay,
like the bloodline.
well,
That's the
not even just the
thing.
blood. Well, not even just the bloodline being here. I think one of the like some really cool options. Can you imagine getting DIY versus the Street Profits? I
I
want
would
that
love that. I
now.
would
I
love
want that
that.
tomorrow. Um, but like I don't know. And also Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews, are they a tag team now? Is this now a thing?
Rando.
Yeah,
Rando. That's I'm like,
random.
where did that come from? I mean, I agree with you. I think the Street Profits would be so much better at being the tag team champions and having a reign between a feud between DIY, and I think that would be awesome and amazing. I would sign me up for 14 of them. Give them to me. I'll take them all. I will watch that feud go on for months because I feel like they would give us some really good stuff.
Hmm.
But I also understand why it had to be Fatu and Tonga because they need the bloodline to look like that dominant faction. And I don't know. Some people you might not believe in it or with the or without the belts. Some people would. I don't know. I think It
I believe in one person, and that
John
person
Hendry, Joe
is Joe
Hendry,
Hendry.
Joe Hendry. Right. Right.
So
You have to believe in that, I guess.
yeah,
But yeah,
absolutely.
I thought the match was fine. I thought the match was actually pretty good. It I love that the Street Profits were able to just roll through people and just win and win. But by the time it got to Fatu and Tonga, Dawson was exhausted.
Mhm.
Montez, like they were exhausted. So it was like easy pickings. So it's like, that's the only part of gauntlet matches that take me out a little bit. But
Do you know who I feel bad for in all of this?
who's that?
Pretty Deadly. Okay, let me explain why. Okay, these guys have been an established tag team for like
Mm-hmm.
5 years. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
they ran NXT UK. They were NXT tag champs like multiple times. Like, and they are funny. Okay,
Yes.
regardless of if you like the gimmick or not, they are funny guys. They have been given nothing on the main
Nothing.
roster. And like, because I
No.
remember last year at Survivor Series, they were in that segment with like R-Truth when he came back from his ACL
Mm-hmm.
tear. And like that was like right after they came up, and everyone's like, "Oh, Pretty Deadly's getting featured on TV still. Like it's gonna be something really cool." Now they're just another tag team and on SmackDown, and it bums me out because why couldn't Pretty Deadly have been the tag team to win the belts at Mania instead of A Town Down Under, which I don't like at all.
It
I
would
like
have
one
been
of
great.
them.
I would have been fine with Pretty Deadly winning over them, honestly.
Hmm. Um,
I mean, I do think they're pretty they're funny. I agree
hmm
with you on that. They are a funny act.
hmm
Um and I wish they were used more in an effective way.
hmm
Honestly, I do agree with that. But
All right,
that was
score
SmackDown.
scores for SmackDown.
Scores or like letter grades? Because I could give you a letter grade.
Letter grade works.
C.
C minus. I was like C minus,
I would give it just a
which is an
C.
improvement from last week. So
It
there's
was
that.
just yeah. I was just it was just a C.
Well,
But
speaking of C, it's time to talk about a man we used to see on WWE programming. I'm trying to get the
but we
summary
don't
done here.
we don't want to see him
Mhm.
anymore.
Yeah. Well, we don't really have a name for him anymore, honestly. So it's
No.
time to talk about the artist formerly known as Val Venus, unfortunately. But this time it's actually for a very fun reason, so I'm very happy. So Val Venus has become a very controversial figure on wrestling Twitter. Uh, the former, I think he was an Intercontinental Champion for like a month. Former Intercontinental Champion, big wrestler, like late '90s, early 2000s for WWE, like several years ago now. Um,
Hmm.
he has joined the alt-right hate train, against the queers specifically, and that's a bummer because I actually used to be a fan of his back in the day, back when I was younger. But, it's really unfortunate that despite not being he's not educated, obviously he's just not an educated man. And he also clearly wasn't educated enough to know what copyright law was. Uh, so the trademark on the name Val Venus has lapsed, okay? And he is still using that as his marketing and for his appearances. He's still going by a Val Venus. Um, so someone on Twitter has filed a trademark for the name Val Venus, and they are making it a queer rights charitable organization with the name Val Venus. There's like an acronym for it, like it's an acronym, super fun, super great. He has now deactivated his Twitter. I want that known. Um, I don't know if this is going to fall under common law. I'm not too familiar with common law, but what I'll tell you is, at minimum, this is very funny, and I think it's just some really good quality karma coming at Valvinus here.
I mean, hey, if you do, what'd you say? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes,
Damn
and
straight, Lana.
that is exactly what happened to him. He just when you want to go and alienate a whole group of people
Hmm.
for something that is their choice, and then there's their lives, and that is who they are. why does it bother you
Yeah.
so much
Hmm.
that you have to spew hatred out on Twitter, on social media of all places? Like, just do you, boo, and let other
Hmm.
people do them.
Exactly.
Leave it
Um,
alone. Leave it alone.
well, I mean, and it's just such a bummer
It
because
is.
this man was literally his whole gimmick was that he was a porn star.
Right.
Like, you are the last person to be bringing conservative values to my face if you're a former pro wrestler. I'm sorry. I think you're crazy for that. Um,
Yeah.
I'm very happy that this man is old and retired, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't have to worry about him like being on programming anytime soon. So there's that. Um,
There's that.
regardless, thank you, Val Venus, for being an idiot and not knowing how copyright law works. And thanks. But someone we actually do need to thank, like legitimately, is Meiko Satomura, who is currently has just announced her retirement this past weekend. It is currently planned for April of this year. Yes, you heard that right. April.
April.
And first off, as someone who has been a massive fan of Meiko Satomura's ever since she was on NXT UK, honestly, since she was in the Mae Young Classic all those years ago,
Mm.
um, I am bummed. But I also understand. I don't know. You've been doing this for 30 years. I feel like you've earned the retirement now.
Oh, absolutely.
um,
Absolutely.
but I mean, to be fair, I think you earn the retirement whenever you take it as a pro wrestler. I think you wrestle for a week and you want to retire. I understand. I get it. Um, but she truly is a legend of this business, and she deserves literally all the flowers in the world. I think she is guaranteed to be a Hall of Famer in the
Hmm.
very near future. Um, she is. I mean, she's been wrestling since '95. Um, started the Sendai Girls promotion in Japan, has been a NXT UK Women's Champion. She was the last NXT UK Women's Champion. Um, held that belt for ages. She's wrestled in the Mae Young Classic. She's done so much in her career, and I think now that we know she's retiring soon. Uh, I think there's only really one thing left for her to do, and that's have a match at WrestleMania. And if that's where she chooses to go out, I cannot think of a better way for her to go out.
I agree. I think, like you said, someone who has been in this game for 30 years definitely earns the respect, earns the right to say, I'm done, and should be giving her flowers, period. She's done so much for the sport, and I hope she has a most beautiful retirement, but I hope
Mhm.
they send her off in the best way, and I don't know what better way to do that than letting her have a match, or maybe her last match at WrestleMania. Like, why not? Or
Okay.
whatever they want to do. I don't know.
Dream opponent for Mako Satomura at WrestleMania for me, Asuka.
Oscar.
Asuka.
That was
Um,
literally it for me too.
yeah. I could also see like maybe even Kyrie, because
Or
Kyrie was
EO.
or Io. I mean, specifically though Kyrie, because Kyrie, I mean, Io was there too in Sendai Girls, but that literally been Kyrie. That was Kyrie's home in Japan for so long.
Yeah,
But literally, I just think it needs to be one of the girls that's in WWE that came through Sendai Girls. There's a
yeah,
ton of them now. Uh, whoever they choose to be that person, if it does end up going that way, it'll be the correct choice. So, um,
absolutely.
but first off, thank you, Mako, for a legendary career. She wrestled in WCW. She's been around that long. So
We love that for her.
thank you so much. And I hope that this last little bit of your retirement tour is phenomenal.
You know what? Might not be as phenomenal, but still good. Raw.
Raw. Yeah, no AJ Styles. It'll make Raw less phenomenal.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
A little less phenomenal, but still good. So, what did we think about Raw this week, Brooke?
Meh. Okay, it's just Raw has been pretty good the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So this week was just not as good as it has been.
Okay.
I still think it was better than SmackDown, but
Oh, definitely. Oh,
yeah,
100%.
but it just
100%.
it was fine. Like I will say, the two things that I am taking away from this Monday Night Raw. Uh, the big thing for me is we got this really good match with I'm blinking, Finn Balor and Gunther. That match was
Mm,
incredible. The main event.
yeah, it was really good.
Also, and then the other thing I'm taking away is the Liv Morgan segment where she goes full Taylor Swift reputation and burns all the Dominic stuff in the trash can. Um,
The
but
revenge tour is back on.
yeah, but I mean, let's just talk about it. So we open with Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, CM Punk. Dear God, let SummerSlam be the end of this feud. Okay. Also, I want to ask you a question real quick, Lana. Okay. Topher says he wants this feud to go to WrestleMania last week on this podcast. How do you
Hmm.
feel about that?
I don't mind that, honestly. I would love, because I don't feel like they are going to let this go after one match. It's still going to drag on. It's still going to. Now, here's my thing. I don't want it to be consistently happening up until
Mm-hmm.
Mania. Like, I want it to happen here,
Mm-hmm.
maybe happen at another pay per view come very soon. And then it kind of like dies down a little, but they still like seething in the backgrounds, and
Mm-hmm.
and like one is vowing to get the other one, and somebody is vowing, like they just in the background. It doesn't have to be a match every week or every pay per view that we have up
Mm-hmm.
until WrestleMania, but it's always that underlining hatred. Like I feel like we could do Drew and CM Punk for a couple pay per views, let them do their thing, and then maybe Seth comes and it's Seth and CM Punk, because I want to see that too. I definitely want to see that too. Because I feel like that's some maybe a bad blood. I don't know. But just I want to see that happening a little. And I would love for it to culminate at Mania with all three of them. Give me a triple
Mm-hmm.
threat, just no holds barred. They just killing each other. They just I wouldn't mind that at all.
See, beautiful thing for us right now is that we got a few pay-per-views between now and Survivor Series after
Mm-hmm.
SummerSlam. Because Bash at Berlin is happening at the end of August.
Yep.
Bad Blood is happening. So
Yep,
I mean,
which
we have.
I plan on being there for Bad Blood, just to
Where's it
put
gonna
that
be
out
at?
there. It's in Atlanta.
Oh yeah, go to Bad Blood then. Um,
That's my plan.
Now I am trying to talk Wesley into going to Indianapolis next year to go to the Royal Rumble, but that's
That
beside
is
the point.
a plan of mine too. Is
Lana, the
honestly,
meetup will be legendary.
it would be
Beside,
legendary indeed.
but beside the point, Raw for me was one of those things this week. Like with this segment, I'm just bored with
mm,
this.
mm-hmm,
I get the feud. I get where they're going. I get all of it. What I need from them is to escalate, right?
mm,
Because you
mm-hmm.
remember that thing that happened on SmackDown a few weeks ago where Drew McIntyre just beat the crap out of Punk and left him down on the ramp
Right, right.
behind the gate? Like, that was super cool.
Yes,
I, why are we? It's so boring now. I'm so bored. I need more, and I'm just not getting it. Um,
right.
I want like Dream World for me. I want Seth to cost McIntyre this match because
Mm,
McIntyre cost him the world title at Money in the Bank,
mm.
and then let Punk do something else for a bit and let Seth and Drew feud,
Okay.
and then move everybody away from each other for a bit after that. If we have Drew versus Punk at Mania, I won't be mad, but I cannot have them feuding for over a year. I just can't.
Yeah.
Um, so then we get the latest in the Chad Gable Wyatt Six saga. They beat
Mm-hmm.
Tozawa. The Creeds beat Tozawa and Otis. Um, you have Eric Rowan, Joe Gacy, and Dexter Loomis take off their masks after the match and beat the crap out of. I guess this is the new Alpha Academy. I don't know. Whatever Chad Gable and the Creeds, if they have a name yet or not. Um, but yeah, like it's interesting. That's interesting. I still don't think it should be Chad Gable. But um, Bronson Reed got a relatively clean win over Sheamus. Interference from Pete Dunne. Also, I found out what happened to Tyler Bate. He tore his pec,
Oh wow.
and I'm like, oh, I don't get to see Tyler Bate for 9 months. That
9 months.
sucks.
Yeah.
I love
I
Tyler
mean, Pete
Bate.
Dunne been showing up on NXT and stuff.
Hmm.
So I'm like, what y'all gonna do with him now? Did he just go run around and
Hmm.
mm-hmm.
I love Pete Dunne. I love Tyler Bate
Mm-hmm.
more, but I love them both. And so not having Tyler Bate is a bummer for me. But beside the point, Uh, Jey Uso beat Carlito. Duh. Um, Karrion Kross beat Xavier Woods. I actually have liked this feud more than I thought I would. Uh, this like New Day Final Testament mess. I'm here for it. I'm really interested in where they're going with this because some people are saying that Xavier Woods is turning heel on Kofi. I don't know. I don't see that ever happening. But if it does happen, Xavier Woods will be the biggest heel in the history of pro wrestling. So I mean, I can't be mad.
I mean, I will
Okay,
if it
if
does happen, I want it to be in a smart way where it actually elevates Xavier instead
yeah,
of burying him.
if Xavier turns heel on Kofi, will it be a bigger turn than Dominic turning heel on Ray?
Yes.
It's a close call for me too.
It's a very I will
It's a
say
close
yes
call.
because how close the New Day are, they
Hmm.
might as well be brothers.
Yeah,
Oh,
I feel
I would
you.
that would be you
I would
know what
cry.
would make it even better
What?
is if he turns on Cody and then Big E comes back and it's just like, what is happening? Like we get some segments with Big E
Hmm.
and in the middle of trying to mediate Kofi and Xavier. Like I just want Big E back on my screen. I'm just gonna be honest. I just want Big
Just
E
let him
back
be
on
a
my screen.
just let him be a manager. Damn it.
That that's all
Um.
I've been saying. But yeah.
Yeah. So Sami Zayn fights Dominic Mysterio. Sammy wins via DQ because Judgment Day stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um. Also, why are we doing this Braun Breaker stuff every week? I last week it was entertaining. I was here for it. We don't need to do it every week. We don't need to do it every
I
week.
thought I told y'all.
I
I
like
th-
him. I like him a lot, but they are putting him on my screen too much right now. So let him take a week off. He had a promo earlier. That's all we needed. Um. So then we have a tag match with the after party and Lyra Valkyria taking on our lovely gaggle of lesbians, Shayna Baszler, Sonya Deville, and Zoe Stark. Zoe gets the win after honestly a really good Z360 to Katana Chance.
Mm-hmm.
Katana Chance is an underrated seller, note, but really solid match from top to bottom. And then Damage Control comes back. Okay, cool. And then they fight with our trio of lesbians, and like, are they faces now? Because I'll be real, if they are faces now, I need an explanation. What is going
Right.
on?
What is
Um,
happening?
because I mean, last time we saw them, right, was the
Mm-hmm.
EO Sky temper tantrum in the locker room,
Right.
and like like all that stuff with the EO was going on. So if they're faces now, I need an explanation. This is very confusing and like it's way too much going on. And I don't like the idea of them just being faces now against this group of three women when in reality they should be the heels here if anything between these two teams, but I don't know. We'll see how that turns out. And then we ended with a really good match between Finn Balor and Gunther. Gunther obviously getting the win to get the momentum going into SummerSlam. But oof, Finn Balor, when Rhea and Priest tell him that they're gonna have his back, and he says, "You don't think I'm good enough?" That turn at SummerSlam is gonna hit. It's gonna hit so
It's
hard.
gonna be so good. It's definitely going to hit, and I'm be like, I'm here for it.
Cheers.
I right now here's the thing: is it going to be Finn turning on Priest with Liv?
I think what's gonna happen, right? And this is just me, right? I think Dominic is going to accidentally cost Rhea, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Liv's gonna retain.
Yes,
Uh, and
I agree with
then
that.
I think Finn is going to, on purpose, cost
On
Damien, right?
absolutely.
And then I think we're gonna get Finn Balor, JD McDonough, Carlito, and Liv Morgan together. But I will say, Carlito is actually the one I'm the least certain about where he's gonna go with all of this because on the one hand, I could see him going with JD and Finn, but on the other hand, he was basically brought into the group by Dominic. So who
Right.
knows? I don't know. But when it comes to however this Judgment Day breakup that's about to happens, I'm excited. I'm curious
Ye-
to see where it goes. Um, I definitely think Raw was better this week.
Oh, absolutely.
Um, I mean, we do have SmackDown still coming up on
Mm-hmm.
Friday as of recording.
Mm-hmm.
Predictions are coming out before then though, but you never know. But yeah, good episode of Raw. Kind of a boring episode of Raw, but a good episode of Raw nonetheless. Um, I am gonna give this one a B.
Oh, be it is. Be it is. But yes, we will have predictions on SummerSlam. It'll be out and on online on Thursday.
Hmm.
Thursday afternoon. So you might want to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss our SummerSlam predictions. See who we think is going to win and who is going to take the crown of the 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 master mind of SummerSlam. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, we do. Speaking of SummerSlam, we have some news about some things that's happening
Hmm.
on this weekend. It's the weekend before SummerSlam, and that is tryouts. WWE are having tryouts this weekend right before SummerSlam.
Hmm.
And, I feel like, yeah, they should always have tryouts and keep bringing in new people because the more people you bring in, you take up, get them together ready to go up, and then the people who are in NXT, because they're going to go up to the main roster eventually. People on the main roster are going to leave the main roster eventually. So you want to keep in your new talent.
Hmm.
So that's happening this weekend, right before SummerSlam.
This is also a really interesting tryout because they're actually selling tickets to this tryout and letting
Ooh.
people watch it live. Um,
Mm.
I'm here for that. That's really cool. Like as an
That's a way to
idea,
just throw
that's
people out
awesome.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, nothing like telling if the crowd's gonna be interested in somebody than just putting them in front of a crowd and seeing how the crowd reacts. So, um, I think it's a really cool way to do it. We have a few people that have been confirmed for it, mostly former athletes, like professional, like, NFL players, and a few other different things. I'll be honest, I do not remember a single name from the list of people I saw, but it is really interesting whenever they have tryouts before these big events like this. They did it before Mania this past year, but like the week of Mania, like during
Hmm.
Access and all that stuff. So we'll really see how this turns out. Historically, somebody that gets signed out of these tryouts will probably be a big deal at some point. So, um, and also this means that Big E will probably be there. So, because he's
Love
been
that.
working the tryouts lately. So, uh, love to see that. Miss my guy. I need him on my screen
I
every
mean,
day.
he'll probably do the kickoff show, which will be
Hmm.
fine and great. But I need him more. I
Hmm.
need him more. I need him more. But yeah, that's what's happening this weekend and before Mania, and I'm excited to see what. I love the idea of them selling tickets and having just an audience so people can just be out there. But that is that, though, y'all. We have talked about our weekly roundup or wrap up of all things wrestling.
Hmm.
And we appreciate you all for checking us out. If you can do us a favor and hit the subscribe button and notification bell on your way out, we would greatly appreciate it. As well as go to our link tree and click on all of our links of all of our other channels and subscribe and hit the notification bell on all of those channels, as well as our audio podcast links as well. So you can check us out on the go and our Patreon. Join our Patreon to get early access to across all four channels and exclusive content across all four channels. And if you continue to scroll down in our description, you will see the link to our merch page. So you can get your cup merch. Not limited to the cup mug, but the cup mug is in there. You can get all of our cup merch things. So check all of that
Hmm.
out. We'll be back next week, of course, to talk more wrestling round, wrap up and give you all the tea on everything that happens after SmackDown, before SmackDown, and after SmackDown. The way this
Hmm.
our setup is happening, so we'll give you the tea on all of that and get join. Make sure you're here to see our prediction show again for SummerSlam and our recap show, which will drop on Monday morning.
Yeah.
Yep. Our recap of SummerSlam will drop on Monday morning. Our prediction show on SummerSlam will drop on Thursday morning. So be sure to check us out. All the things. We appreciate you watching. And we're gonna get out of here. So
Cheers, everybody.
cheers everybody. Cheers.
I believe in Joe Hendry.